Really excited today to have a special guest in my home, Powis Campbell, who's a psychologist from Calgary. And today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but primarily focused around like mental health and mood and why it's important to take a holistic approach to wellness. So why don't you share today a little bit more about you, who you are, and what you do here in Calgary.
Okay, I'm so honored to be here with someone who is so passionate about food and movement and mental health, really.
Yeah.
So it's such an honor to be with you and all of your lovely audience. So first and foremost, I'm a mom, very passionate about that in my life. That is my most important job, and very passionate about what I do outside of that as well. So I'm a psychologist, so specializing in nutrition psychology, mindfulness, sports psychology, and psychoaromatology, so how aromas impact brain chemistry.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah. So
how exciting.
It's a new area. Not a new area, but a new area of study anyways. So so interested in those areas. Also a yoga instructor. So I've trained in the area of family and children and adolescent yoga.
Awesome.
And I'm launching a food company in Calgary.
How exciting.
Yeah. So I'm really passionate about sending out the message of the importance of how we eat and what we eat, and the importance of movement in Calgary, and connecting, putting away technology, and really just being present with ourselves, and comfortable with ourselves, comfortable with our bodies, and being comfortable with those around us and present with those around us.
I think you do a really great job of that. Just in attending some of the events that you've put on locally, you are wonderful at building that community, but then also sharing these passions that, you know, seem vast, and they are vast, but they're all kind of interconnected. And so I'd love for you to share today too, you know, why it's important to take a really holistic approach to mental health specifically.
I really like to attend to the whole person. And so what that means is focusing on their body and movement. So yoga, mindful movement, you know, following Thich Nhat Hanh from Plum Village. So mindful movement, mindful walking. So it doesn't have to be a formal meditation, but also working with people to talk about how can we fit meditation and mindfulness into our lives. 10 minutes a day is what the research tells us to change the way your brain functions and the structure of it.
I know.
So
if you're listening, we're just going to pause here because you know, both of us really share this passion for meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and within Worthy and Well, I've shared little bits about meditation, mindful eating, but I feel like this is an area that I personally really want to share a lot more about. And just hearing you talk about the research that shows, you know, 10 minutes a day of meditation has such a profound impact on our state of being, really. And I don't know about you, but I found that meditation and yoga really translates to me just being a better person in the world, you know, like in all areas, and eating more mindfully, and being more present with people. Some of those things that you touched on earlier.
Yeah,
so
gratitude. Gratitude is
Absolutely.
another piece there, which we know that if we have more gratitude, it impacts our life immensely. And it's not about gratitude about the house that's over our heads, but gratitude for those around us, gratitude for the food before us, which kind of leads into that other area of, you know, passion with nutrition psychology, focusing on foods and whole foods and the impact that can have on our mental health.
Yeah.
So we know that a high processed food diet has a negative impact on our mental health. We know that. It has a negative impact on our physical health. So it's not about following this clean food movement, but it's about being mindful in how we source our food and the quality of it, how we prepare it, are we present with our food, and just, you know, really enjoying what we're eating and being grateful for this bounty of food that we have at our, you know, disposal every day.
Totally. I love what you shared about when you were talking about, you know, the impact of processed foods and whole foods and different pieces. And, you know, like one element that I love about mindfulness is this like non-judgment and ability to look at things in a more objective way. And so sometimes I think people can attach judgment to going out and eating a burger or something at a fast food restaurant and feeling bad and guilty and shameful about that. And every once in a while I do that, but is it a part of my day-to-day habit? No. So being objective is also just being aware of the facts that food plays a role on our mood and mental health. And so you have this area of expertise in nutritional psychology, and you spoke a little bit about it just right now, but can you elaborate on that part of your practice?
Yeah, so huge passion, and I received training in mindful eating, and that, really sparked my interest in learning more and talking to clients more about nutrition, but I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a dietitian. So the way I'm able to do that is I did post-grad training in nutrition psychology, which is really a growing area. Australia, Britain, it's really, cool. It's starting to be part of psychologist training, but here not so much. So I did some training through a university in California, and basically what it is it's looking at what we eat and how that impacts our internal environment. So the biophysiological impact that what we eat, has. And so again, not about necessarily clean eating, but looking at how the nutrients actually impact our health. And so, we talk about, fats. We want to get fat in our diet, and we're such a fat phobic culture, but we need fats to produce certain hormones. We need certain nutrients for our body to go through certain processes and our cells to go through certain processes. We need protein and the amino acids within proteins, of course, to make our neurotransmitters, which dictate our mood. And it's just this cycle that, often I'll see someone having just an apple, that's all they'll allow themselves in the afternoon, and so they have a blood sugar spike, right? And so it has a direct impact. So some of these things that have been programmed into us, like rules of what we eat and what time we eat, they aren't necessarily serving us. So it's about teaching people to listen to their body with mindful eating, and then having them just be mindful of okay, what am I eating? Am I getting carbs? Am I getting proteins? Am I getting fat?
Right.
Not attaching good and bad to the foods that they're eating, but still ensuring they're getting nutrients that their bodies are asking for.
Yeah. And what I love that you sort of stress there too is obviously I talk a lot about food and its impact on health and broadly speaking, how that also impacts mood and mental health, but you kind of outline specific things that nutrients do, like neurotransmitters, which are important for feel-good hormones in the brain. And I don't think people think about food's role and the actual the role of nutrients and nutrient-dense foods in reducing risk for depression and mental health and being happier.
Yeah.
So combine that with meditation and
exactly.
We're moving.
Yeah, serotonin, right?
Yes.
We hear so much about serotonin, and we're starting to hear more about our gut being the second brain. Depending on the research you read, 85 to 95% of our serotonin is made in our gut. So it's so important to attend to our gut health and know that what we eat and the health of our gut is impacting our mental health too.
So cool.
And then the meditation, how that kind of fits in is really key too, because if we are eating in a constant stress state and we're not taking that chance to put technology aside and just be with food and breathe, if we're not doing that, our body's in a stress state and we're not going to absorb our nutrients as well. So, for many of us, we're putting in so much effort into curating what we're eating, what's in our lunches, what's in our breakfast, but we're just kind of scarfing it down on the go, right? So
yeah, and I think it's important to just I feel like for myself that slow, it's like a word that I say to myself every day. Just can we slow everything down a little bit? And that doesn't mean you get less done necessarily, although it can, but it's so worth it for not only that absorption and taking in nutrition, but just enjoying it more and having more pleasure and that healthier relationship with food, mind, and body.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you to share what you personally do. What would be your top 3 things that you do to care for yourself and really value your own holistic wellness?
So self-care is not selfish, but I have to remind myself as a mom all the time that it is not selfish.
I hope the moms listening are hearing this, because I think it's hard for moms. There's that mom guilt that can be associated with taking care of yourself, but it's kind of backwards, right? Like you need to be filled up to be a good mom.
Exactly. We do need to fill ourselves up, but also it shows our kids that health is important and self-care is important. So you're teaching them and they're watching that and they see the importance of, you know, mom isn't just, you know, here to serve me, but she's also serving herself and being involved in the community, which, you know, looking at what I do in terms of my self-care is it's being out in the community. That's a big part for me is connection. So whether that connection is going to a yoga studio, whether it is going for coffee or having a bite, I do eat out. So it just, even though I work in mindful eating and nutrition psychology, there's beautiful food around the city, but it's not about good and bad food. So going out and enjoying food. So again, as a working mom, it gets busy, but it's about making that time to connect with people. And that's where great ideas are born. And, you know, just we feel all of those human emotions. Having some time for movement every day is very important to me. Whether that is doing yoga with my son before bedtime, that's you know, that's part of my movement routine, or if it's going to a spin class or, you know, a fitness class, going for a run, running my kids to daycare. So I fit it in, but even if it's something that, you know, I only have half an hour for, I make sure I am fully present and there's never any technology when I am taking that time for myself. That's awesome. I always include breathing exercises in my day as well. So mindful, you know, sometimes it's with meditation, but there's always a breathing exercise component, and often with essential oils. Some, you know, many of our essential oils, like when we look at lavender and lemon has limonene in it, which has a positive mood impact on us, right? When we're smelling it aromatically. So I kind of use that to kind of upgrade it.
We're going to have a conversation after about aromas.
Yeah, it's a whole nother area.
I'm like, ooh.
So breathing, movement, so important, but also food, having certain foods generally. So if I have to look at a day, for me, you know, fat is one of the highlights of my day. Butter, coconut oil, avocado. So I always have avocados, you know, a portion of an avocado or an entire avocado over the course of a day. That for me is so nourishing, and it's especially in the winter months, like I listen to my body. And so for me right now, what my body is asking for is, you know, at a cellular level, I want more fat. We are constantly in this really intimate relationship with food, and it's, as you know from working with your clients and the impact you have on, with them, and it's a key relationship in our life, and sometimes we take it for granted.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, you mentioned movement, you mentioned mindfulness or breathing, you mentioned food, community. Yeah. So I love that community piece as well.
Yeah, connection of mind and body and connection in the community. Yeah. Those are kind of my big, that's my jam.
That's your jam. It's totally your jam.
You are a foodie, so
you can
it's
see
my
it.
jam.
Yeah.
Gotta have a food pun in here.
I never even caught it.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So why don't you tell my viewers basically what's going on in the world of your business? We haven't even mentioned it. Holistic Health YYC.
Oh yeah. Holistic Health YYC is my company.
HolisticHealthYYC.com, and we'll have links in the notes below. Awesome. But tell us a little bit more about, you know, what's going on for you right now and where people can find you in the, you know, online space.
Yeah, so I work a lot in one-on-one and family work, and so when I'm working with kids, it's mindful movement, mindfulness for children. So we know that anxiety and depression, huge role mindfulness can play in that, and introducing, you know, picky eaters or whatever are labeled as picky eaters to mindful eating can impact the level of stress in a home, especially around the dinner table. So I do a lot of work with families and with kids using play therapy, nutrition psychology, mindful movement, mindful eating, you know, tying in all of those aspects to it. And so having some events, so I haven't launched the date because we're still kind of in the works, but there will be a mindful eating program for kids launching in the new year. I'll be running a mindful eating group based on the mindful eating conscious living program that I did under Jan Chosen Days. So that'll be in the new year at Modern and Mindful YYC. Awesome. So I'll be doing that. I'll be having some dinner events. So something I didn't mention, so food, wine, it's all about balance. So I recently did some wine training, and so looking to bring in some mindful eating and mindful wino events to Calgary. So that'll be end of January. So I've got a lot of events that are kind of on, in the works, but are yet to be.
So lots for the
dates.
Local Calgary people to check out.
Yeah.
Live here.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. I've attended a couple of your events and they've been fabulous.
Yeah.
So
and Market
great.
Collective. I'll be having my food for sale at Market Collective December 9th to 11th and 16th to 18th.
Okay.
So people can come visit. It will be under the name Whole and Wealthy. So I've partnered with my sister-in-law who, her company is The Wealth, and she is a student of nutrition. So she's studying holistic nutrition. And so we've partnered up Holistic Health, The Wealth, come together as Whole and Wealthy. So we're going to have mason jar meals and educating people on some of the ingredients that we have in the jar. So not just about what they're eating, but how to go about eating. And
Awesome. And where can people find you on Instagram? Is Instagram the best place for the social world?
I'm not really on Facebook that much. So Instagram, Holistic Health YYC is my primary social media.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming into my home today and just having this conversation. I'm sure the viewers will get a lot of benefit just from hearing your story, and you can probably tell that a lot of our messages really align, and so I just had to have Sally in for this this feature.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks so much. Take care and have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye. Okay. Tower, and I can so I hit that.
Okay. So I will stand straight.
Yeah, I like it on. I like it on. It's cute and it shows how cold it is outside. I'm so excited today to host on the video blog Sally Powis. Oh my God, how do I say your name properly? Campbell. Powis Campbell?
Powis Campbell.
So she's here with me today in my kitchen, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. Are you kidding me?